Global Monetary Watch welcomes you, and today is July 27th. Thank you for joining us for another update covering developments related to the Iraqi dinar and the country's financial system. In today's report, we are taking a closer look at the Central Bank of Iraq's latest announcement regarding newly designed Iraqi dinar banknotes. This announcement has attracted widespread attention among currency followers, economists, and members of the dinar community. While many reactions have appeared online, it is important to separate official information from speculation and focus on what has actually been communicated by the Central Bank of Iraq. Whenever a central bank announces changes involving its national currency, it naturally generates questions. Some people immediately assume that redesigned banknotes indicate an upcoming change in exchange rates, while others interpret the news as evidence of a broader monetary reform. However, central banking history shows that new currency designs can serve several different purposes, and each situation must be evaluated using official information rather than assumptions. Understanding why a central bank introduces new notes is the first step toward interpreting the announcement correctly. One of the most common reasons central banks redesign their currency is to improve security. Modern banknotes include sophisticated technologies that make counterfeiting significantly more difficult. These security improvements may involve advanced printing techniques, color-shifting inks, embedded security threads, holographic elements, watermarks, and other authentication features. Around the world, central banks periodically modernize their currency to stay ahead of counterfeit operations and maintain public confidence in cash transactions. Such updates are considered a normal part of responsible currency management. Another reason countries occasionally redesign their banknotes is to refresh the appearance of the currency itself. New designs often highlight important historical figures, cultural landmarks, archaeological heritage, or national achievements. Updating artwork on banknotes reflects a country's evolving identity while also giving citizens a modern representation of their history. These visual changes do not automatically indicate changes in monetary policy. Instead, they demonstrate that the issuing authority continues investing in the quality and credibility of its national currency. There is also a completely different process known as redenomination. This occurs when a country removes zeros from its currency after years of high inflation. Under a redenomination, old banknotes are exchanged for newly issued notes according to an official conversion ratio established by the central bank. Although the numerical values printed on the notes change, purchasing power remains the same because every balance is converted proportionally. A redenomination is primarily an administrative simplification rather than an increase in the currency's value. It is important not to confuse a redenomination with a change in exchange rate policy. These are separate monetary actions with different objectives. Throughout financial history, many countries have introduced redesigned banknotes without altering their exchange rates, while others have completed redenominations without creating additional purchasing power for currency holders. For that reason, analysts generally examine official policy statements, denomination structures, and supporting economic documentation before drawing conclusions about what a particular currency announcement actually represents. Based on the information currently available through official communications, the Central Bank of Iraq's latest announcement is primarily focused on introducing updated banknote designs with improved security features. The available information indicates that the project is intended to modernize Iraq's circulating currency while strengthening protection against counterfeiting and improving the durability and quality of physical cash used throughout the country. These objectives are consistent with the practices followed by many central banks around the world when they periodically refresh their currency series. Improving physical currency involves much more than changing artwork. Modern banknotes are designed to remain in circulation for many years while resisting wear, environmental damage, and fraudulent reproduction. As technology advances, counterfeit techniques also become more sophisticated, requiring central banks to continually enhance the security of their banknotes. Investing in improved currency production reflects an effort to protect consumers, businesses, financial institutions, and the broader economy by maintaining trust in the cash that circulates every day. The announcement also reflects the Central Bank of Iraq's continuing efforts to strengthen institutional standards across the country's financial system. In recent years, Iraq has introduced reforms in banking supervision, financial compliance, payment systems, and international cooperation. While these initiatives cover different areas of financial management, They collectively demonstrate an emphasis on modernization and institutional development. Updated banknotes can therefore be viewed as one component of this broader modernization process rather than an isolated policy decision. An important detail analysts often examine whenever new banknotes are introduced is the denomination structure itself. The denominations selected by a central bank provide useful information about how the currency is expected to function in everyday transactions. Looking at the face values of new notes helps observers understand whether the central bank is simply refreshing existing currency or implementing a more significant structural reform. Careful examination of these details provides a much more reliable basis for analysis than relying on speculation circulating through social media or online discussions. The Iraqi dinar currently circulates using denominations that reflect the country's existing exchange rate environment. Higher value notes have long been part of Iraq's cash economy, allowing businesses and consumers to conduct transactions efficiently under current monetary conditions. According to available official information, the redesigned banknotes continue to fit within this existing denomination framework, rather than introducing a fundamentally different currency structure. This distinction is important because denomination choices often provide meaningful context when evaluating central bank announcements. As more official information becomes available, observers will continue monitoring how these redesigned notes are introduced into circulation, how existing notes remain in use during the transition period, and what additional guidance the Central Bank of Iraq provides regarding implementation. For now, the available evidence indicates that the announcement represents a modernization of Iraq's physical currency rather than a confirmed change in the country's exchange rate policy. Understanding this distinction helps place the announcement within its proper institutional and monetary context. Looking beyond the redesigned appearance of the banknotes, it is useful to consider why central banks invest considerable resources in updating their currency. Designing and producing an entirely new series of banknotes requires years of planning, coordination with specialized printing facilities, extensive testing, and significant financial investment. Because of these costs, central banks generally undertake such projects only after careful evaluation of long-term operational needs. The introduction of updated Iraqi dinar notes therefore reflects a structured institutional process, rather than a short-term response to market speculation or public expectations. The expected lifespan of a modern banknote often extends for many years before another redesign becomes necessary. During that time, the notes must remain durable enough to withstand continuous circulation while retaining advanced security features that are recognizable to businesses, banks, and consumers. This long planning horizon demonstrates that currency modernization is typically part of a broader strategy focused on maintaining confidence in the national payment system rather than signaling immediate changes to monetary policy. Another important factor involves public confidence. Physical cash continues to play a major role in Iraq's economy despite the expansion of electronic payment systems. Citizens need confidence that the notes they receive are authentic, secure, and widely accepted throughout the country. Updated security features make it easier for individuals and businesses to verify legitimate currency while making counterfeit reproduction considerably more difficult. Strengthening confidence in circulating cash supports the overall stability and efficiency of everyday commercial activity. Analysts also pay close attention to the relationship between physical currency management and broader financial reforms. During recent years, Iraq has continued implementing measures intended to strengthen banking oversight, improve compliance with international financial standards, modernize payment infrastructure, and increase transparency within its financial institutions. Although these initiatives address different parts of the financial system, together they illustrate an ongoing effort to improve institutional effectiveness across the country's monetary framework. International organizations have also monitored Iraq's financial progress through regular economic assessments. Reports released by institutions such as the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank have discussed areas where Iraq has made measurable improvements while also identifying structural challenges that remain. These evaluations often consider banking reforms, fiscal management, financial stability, and institutional capacity. A modern, secure national currency fits naturally within these broader efforts to strengthen confidence in Iraq's financial system over the long term. One question frequently raised whenever redesigned banknotes are announced concerns whether the new notes themselves indicate future exchange rate decisions. Historically, however, those issues have generally been treated separately. Central banks routinely update banknote designs while maintaining existing monetary policies. Exchange rate decisions, when they occur, are usually based on macroeconomic conditions, inflation trends, foreign exchange reserves, fiscal policy, and other economic indicators rather than the appearance of physical currency alone. History provides numerous examples supporting this distinction. Many countries have introduced redesigned currency featuring enhanced security technology without making corresponding changes to exchange rate policy. In those situations, the updated notes entered circulation gradually, while older notes remained valid during transition periods established by the issuing central bank. The redesign improved currency quality and security, but monetary policy continued to be guided by broader economic conditions rather than by the physical characteristics of the notes themselves. For this reason, analysts often emphasize the importance of examining official documentation instead of relying exclusively on online interpretations. Central bank announcements usually explain the purpose of currency updates, implementation procedures, security improvements, and circulation timelines. Reading these primary sources provides a clearer understanding of institutional objectives than conclusions drawn from unofficial commentary. Careful analysis of official statements allows observers to distinguish confirmed information from personal interpretation. Within Iraq's current financial environment, the central bank continues balancing several responsibilities at the same time. These responsibilities include maintaining monetary stability, supervising financial institutions, managing foreign exchange operations, supporting payment system development, and protecting the integrity of the national currency. Introducing updated banknotes represents one operational responsibility among many that central banks routinely manage as part of maintaining a modern financial system. The broader economic environment also remains relevant when evaluating any monetary development. Iraq's economy continues to be influenced by oil revenues, government spending, banking sector modernization, regional developments, and international trade relationships. These larger economic factors generally have a greater influence on long-term monetary policy than changes to banknote design. As a result, analysts typically evaluate currency announcements within the context of these wider economic conditions, rather than viewing them in isolation. Taken together, the available official information suggests that the newly revealed Iraqi Dinar banknotes represent an important modernization effort focused on improving security, durability, and institutional quality. While the announcement is certainly significant from an operational and administrative perspective, current official information does not by itself establish a confirmed change in Iraq's exchange rate policy. As always, understanding developments through verified sources and careful analysis provides the most balanced perspective when following ongoing news surrounding the Iraqi dinar. As Iraq continues advancing its financial modernization efforts, observers are expected to watch closely for future announcements from the Central Bank of Iraq regarding implementation schedules, circulation procedures, and additional technical details surrounding the new banknote series. Central banks commonly release further guidance as redesigned notes enter circulation, explaining how existing notes will remain valid during the transition and how financial institutions should prepare for the rollout. These operational updates are standard practice and help ensure a smooth introduction of newly printed currency into everyday economic activity. An important lesson from this announcement is the value of distinguishing between different categories of central bank actions. A policy decision affecting interest rates is fundamentally different from a banking regulation, and both differ from the introduction of redesigned physical currency. Each type of announcement serves a separate purpose within the financial system. Understanding these distinctions allows viewers to interpret official news more accurately instead of assuming every development carries the same monetary significance. The Central Bank of Iraq's responsibilities extend well beyond printing banknotes. Like other modern central banks, it oversees monetary stability, manages currency issuance, supervises portions of the banking sector, supports payment infrastructure, and works to preserve confidence in the national financial system. Currency design is only one part of this much larger institutional role. Evaluating banknote announcements within this broader framework provides a more balanced understanding of why such projects are undertaken. Another aspect worth considering is the role of technology in modern currency production. Today's banknotes often contain multiple layers of authentication that can be verified by banks, retailers, and members of the public. Advanced printing methods help reduce fraud while increasing the lifespan of circulating notes. These innovations are continuously updated as counterfeit techniques evolve, making periodic redesigns a routine responsibility for central banks across the world, rather than an unusual or unexpected event. Financial credibility is also supported through consistency and transparency. When central banks clearly communicate the purpose of operational changes, markets, businesses, and consumers are generally better positioned to understand those developments. Official announcements, technical reports, and implementation guidelines form the primary sources used by economists and financial professionals when evaluating monetary actions. Relying on these sources encourages informed discussion grounded in documented information instead of speculation. For followers of Iraqi economic developments, the redesigned banknotes can also be viewed as part of the country's broader institutional progress. Over recent years, Iraq has continued working on banking reforms, payment system modernization, compliance initiatives, and improvements intended to strengthen financial governance. While each reform addresses a different objective, together they illustrate an ongoing effort to improve the efficiency and credibility of the country's financial infrastructure. It is equally important to recognize what has not been officially announced. Based on the information currently available from official communications, the introduction of redesigned banknotes does not by itself confirm a new exchange rate policy or establish any immediate monetary restructuring. Responsible analysis requires separating confirmed facts from assumptions and recognizing the difference between operational improvements and broader policy decisions. Economic developments rarely depend on a single announcement. Monetary policy is typically shaped by a combination of domestic economic performance, inflation trends, fiscal conditions, international trade, foreign exchange reserves, and financial stability objectives. Because of this complexity, analysts usually assess multiple indicators over time, instead of relying on one isolated event, when evaluating the direction of a country's monetary system. Looking ahead, continued attention will likely focus on future publications from the Central Bank of Iraq and other official institutions. As additional documents become available, economists, financial analysts, and market observers will compare new information with previous policy statements to build a clearer picture of Iraq's ongoing financial modernization efforts. This gradual accumulation of verified information provides a stronger analytical foundation than reacting immediately to individual headlines. For viewers following Iraqi Dinar developments, today's announcement serves as a reminder of the importance of careful evaluation. Redesigning physical currency is an important administrative and security-related undertaking that demonstrates continued investment in the country's monetary infrastructure. At the same time, interpreting such developments accurately requires understanding their intended purpose within the broader financial system. Examining official documentation, recognizing the distinction between operational updates and monetary policy, and maintaining a fact-based perspective remain essential when following future developments related to Iraq's financial sector. That concludes today's report from Global Monetary Watch for July 27th. We appreciate you spending your time with us as we continue covering verified developments surrounding the Iraqi dinar and Iraq's evolving financial system. If you found this update informative, thank you for watching. Stay informed, continue following official sources for future announcements, and we'll see you in our next news update.